what city are you in, and what business you're in. Just type in the chat. I'd like to make this more of a roundtable. This is a live discussion with a lot of brilliant people, brilliant CEOs. And so let's type in the chat to make sure you are here, where you're coming in from, and what business you're in. And we're going to get started. Hello, Maria. Welcome. We're going to get started in just a minute. Type in the chat where you're from. What's the weather? I'm in sunny New York today, and it's like, I don't know, 50 degrees and nice. And yeah, that's New York right there on the screen. If you can hear me, see me, type in the chat that you got me. Hello, Dr. Damador. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. We are going to get started in a minute, just waiting for some folks to come in. Looks like Major is in the house. Hello, Major. Good to see you. Austin, fundraising technology. Absolutely. The world is a better place if you got tech to help raise funds. That's wonderful. Chris from Warwick, Rhode Island. Wonderful. Great. So type in the chat where you're coming in from. This is an intimate group, like a round table of CEOs, and we're going to be talking about the 5 shifts that you need to be making, and I'm going to be coaching you through them. This is a live discussion. This is not a recording. The 5 urgent growth shifts that I want you guys to make so you can be successful and your customers can have a better life in their business. These are the 5 urgent growth shifts that every CEO must make before AI powered companies leave everybody behind. And I'm really excited that you guys are here to go through and think about these 5 shifts and to get help. So I'm going to be real with you. This is really an experiential workshop. I can guarantee you've never been in a conversation like this before. I do this only once a month, these types of workshops, these roundtables. And yeah, there's a big heart there on the screen. Love you guys. Love you. Thank you for coming. What you're going to experience today will require an open mind. And you may want to take some notes or do some screenshots. Hello, Dr. Demore. Welcome. Nice to see you there. Data Safeguard Inc. Hello, Peter. Welcome. This is a conversation we're having in the chat. Please introduce yourself, where you're coming in from, and what business you're in. Hello, Lydia. Welcome, welcome. All right. So we're going to dive in soon to the 5 urgent growth shifts every CEO must make before AI really, the AI powered companies, the companies that are using AI, the CEOs that know how to use AI. And this is what we're going to be talking about today, exactly how you need to be using it. Not basically open AI is one to be focusing on, but you can also use Claude, use any AIs you want, but the process is the same. We're going to be talking about that. So hello, Peter. Can you hear me okay? Is my voice okay? I got my late night DJ voice on. I have a little sore throat, but if you can hear me, that would be great. Type in the chat. Hello, Patrick. So I know that this is a bit of a blind spot for a lot of us. You know, we see our website differently than the way our ideal customers see it. And combine that with the fact that the world has changed. It's like a meteor has just hit the earth in slow motion, and that meteor is AI. And here's a scary question to start this conversation off. The AIs right now that are searching your website right now, do they understand your story? Or will they confuse your story today with solutions that are nothing like yours? Scary question. So you may not know the answer to this, but we're going to be talking about how to best use AI, exactly how to use AI to help grow your business today. And I'm really excited to dive in the conversation because it's likely, AI aside, marketing that you have today has a fatal flaw. And that's what we're going to be diving into. Once we fix that and pour AI on the fire, really great things are going to be happening because AI doesn't know your story and can't tell it unless you teach it. And we're going to be talking about this today. Because if you're positioned the wrong way, your AI integrated whatever is going to fail. It's like today when I look at a lot of copy, and I'm sure you've seen this, yes or no in the chat. Are you seeing copy that feels like it's written by the same copywriter? Yes or no in the chat. Stas. And if it has, it's really because people are not training AIs to write like their brand, their business. And so we're going to be curing this problem today in the 5 shifts. Worse than that, even if you're not using AI, if your solution that you're selling is sophisticated, is complicated, but yet your ideal customers are confusing what you're selling with solutions that are nothing like it, I would argue that you don't even have a marketing problem. You don't have a sales problem. You have a positioning problem. And this is what we're going to be diving in today. These 5 urgent growth shifts. We're going to be going to each 5 of them. It's a ton of ideas. I want to bounce all of these ideas off of you and get your thoughts as we move forward. This is a participatory conversation. So in the chat, type in the chat if you're just coming in. Tom, KG, Stas, Patrick, Lydia, Peter, Doctor. We have a doctor in the house. Damador, love to see you, Doctor. David, Maria, Major, Gal, Chris, Alex. I promise you, you're going to get a ton of actionable content from this, but only if you participate. This is my time. This is your time. And we're going to, big hearts to you guys. We're really going to have some breakthroughs today. And this is a rare experience to have this kind of conversation, but I think it's important for us to have it because marketing is a money pit. And a lot of companies are wasting money on marketing that isn't doing anything for sales. My promise to you, though, is if you follow these 5 shifts that we're going to be going through, you can get to a place by, I would say, Q3, where you're not spending any more money on 100% on brand copywriting in 2025. The copywriting is over. You know how they talk about full self-driving cars? Is it a reality yet? Is it not a reality? Well, I've experienced that, and maybe you have too. And I've also experienced 100% on brand copywriting in your own brand voice that does not sound like ChatGPT, sounds like you or your company's voice. And you will, it's all done through AI. And we're going to talk about exactly how to do that for your business so that everyone on your team, everyone producing, whether RFPs or LinkedIn posts or whatever they're producing, it's going to be done beautifully, simply, faster, safer, better, higher quality, and at nearly zero cost. This is what it looks like, but only if you know how to do it. That's what we're going to dive in today. Because I know Neil Patel talks about ads not being profitable, and it's often because what you show to people when they arrive at the destination, they just bounce and they don't understand the value. But what I have seen is $3,000 worth of billable marketing can be reduced to $3 of AI credits with a pre-trained AI in your story. We're going to talk today about exactly how to get there, but the gap is widening. Companies like yours that you're running today, it's a K-shaped economy. Companies that aren't, or CEOs that don't know how to do this are going to be wasting money on marketing, and the gap will be widening going forward. I like to say from Peter Diamandis, I learned this perspective that by really 2026, there are going to be 2 kinds of businesses. One that is using AI in the right way, and another kind of business that's just out of business. I really think it's that stark. And we're going to be talking about how to do that from a sales, marketing, and growth perspective today. I'm moving really, really fast because there's so much ground that I want to cover today. And you're going to be like drinking from the fire hose, and I want you to participate. So right now, we're talking about your homepage, and we're talking about your story, and talk about your positioning. And there's a stark contrast. If you think about your homepage now, what is it in love with? Is it in love with your solution, or is it in love with your customers and their challenges and what they need to accomplish? And you can be honest. I'm going to ask you to be honest with your business today, because these are fundamental shifts that you need to make so that you can grow like never before, and so that you can help your customers, more importantly, or most importantly, help your customers create a better world for themselves and for their customers. So I want to thank you guys right from the start for taking this time with me to work on your business. I know it's really important for you to get growth and to cut through the noise in your industry. So just a quick yes or no. Tom, Stas, KG, Lydia, Peter, Maria, have you been disappointed by the marketing you're getting out of your marketer? Just be honest, yes or no. Type in the chat. And if you haven't already, Chris, I see your comment there about use AI. It's very useful, but far from writing my voice. And we're going to show you exactly how to do that. Not just your voice, but your brand voice. So yes, this is an issue. And type in the chat here, yes or no. Have you been also disappointed by the marketing you're getting out of ChatGPT? I mean, be honest, it's pretty incredible. But most CEOs that I talk to are disappointed by the quality of what they're getting. It sounds like the generic stuff, and it sounds like everything else that they see out there. Because an untrained AI will just make you blend in with your industry. And guess what? The goal is not to blend in. So, we're going to be talking about how to use AI in the fifth shift today. And because most people are using ChatGPT there and prompting the best they can, KG, but most people aren't creating custom GPTs that speak in their brand voice. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And whether they're custom gems from Google or GPTs from OpenAI, we're going to go into all of that today. But more importantly, what you ultimately need to create are multiple chat memories that are spawned from a custom GPT. And we're going to dive into that. I know I'm speaking really fast, but we're going to dive into this a lot today. So it's not about the prompt. Prompting doesn't really matter because GPT can tell you how to prompt. But what really matters is context, framing, and training. And this is what we're going to be talking about, what you need to create today. I'm also going to leave you with at the end here the craft framework, exactly what this craft framework is for prompting, which is like a mini GPT. And that's something that you can walk away with, exactly that method to prompt better and ultimately create better GPT. So who am I? I'm Greg Rossner. Lovely to meet you. There's the heart, thumbs up. I am the CEO of PitchKitchen based here in New York. I'm an AI educator and integrator. I'm the CEO of an agency that integrates AI into sales and marketing for our companies. We produce these 90-day sprints, typically to help our clients grow their business, cut through the noise, and become category leaders. I've personally trained, I've been really working full time in AI in the last year, trained about 95 custom AIs from OpenAI, GPT, and also Claude that has eliminated from my count about $5 million in marketing spend, and it's growing fast. And this is what I'm encouraging our clients to do. Personally, in my career, I learned what I know from about marketing, not from marketing, because I see so much marketing sucks, but I learned what I know about marketing from great selling and great sales. And so I learned from selling and what works and what doesn't work when I worked for a software and enterprise software solutions company where I sold millions of dollars worth of software and services. And what I learned, what works and what doesn't work. And I pivoted and created PitchKitchen because marketing sucks so bad that I wanted to help the salespeople of the world and the CEOs of the world eliminate marketing and make it about having better conversations with your customers. So I've since started PitchKitchen. We've spawned about 3,000 websites and sales presentations and messaging frameworks that have earned over $100 million collectively. So we've seen a pattern of what's been working, what's not been working, and that's where these 5 shifts that I'm going to be sharing with you today is derived. I also am the author of the book Storycraft for Disruptors. You can get it on Amazon. And in the book, you'll see a lot of what these shifts can do if you didn't get a lot of it today. So please buy it on Amazon. But guess what? I am going to be giving away to you today a digital copy of the book for anyone that stays at the end, along with some other great giveaways. Because I don't want this to happen to you where you've spent money rebranding your website and it does nothing for sales. Just type in the chat here. Have you guys ever done this? Spent a ton of money on your website and it's really done nothing for sales? Yes or no in the chat. Yeah, I feel you. So I also know that there's a focus with innovators like you that have built great products and great businesses that the focus is a lot on the product. And I get that. Great product is important. But just let's call it as it is. What type in the chat? What is more important? Your product or the message around your product? Type in the chat. What's more important? Your product or the message? So David says message. Patrick says message. Yeah. What other comments do we have here? So I also believe that what's standing in the way of your innovation and your product getting in the hands of your ideal customers is the story, is the message. And that's critical. And if the message, ChatGPT is not going to help you with that unless you give it a perspective and you guide it towards the kind of thought leadership that you need to have in the industry and aligning that with the shifts that are happening right now. We're going to go all into this. I know that's a lot. But I would say stop tolerating being embarrassed about your website. You need to do something about it. You're not years away from dominating your industry. I like to say you're just a narrative shift away. And it's a simple thing. It's the first of the five that we're going to go through. So, without further ado, let's jump into these five urgent growth shifts that every CEO must make before AI powered companies leave you behind. We're going to go into these five shifts, with the fifth shift I'm most excited about because that's where the AI stuff lands. And AI is amazing and I love it. I can't wait to share with you how we're using it. But it'll only work. It's like how you use it is really, you know, it's all the difference. And I think if you're using AI, you'll know this, that it's really what you're doing and how you're using it that gets the outcomes and the results. So I have been privileged to work with some CEOs like yourselves that have really made a huge difference in their business. I've had the privilege of working with public and privately held companies, VC-backed companies like Aware.com. This is like the before they went through these five shifts, and the afterwards, where the leadership went through these five shifts with us, made these fundamental changes, and really made huge improvements on their growth side. And I'm going to go into some details there later. I would say what these CEOs that we work with do not have in common is that none of them have a boring story. None of them are embarrassed by their website. None of them are wasting money on marketing. None of them are paying team members to do things that can be automated right now. And I would say are none of them haven't integrated AI into their sales and marketing. And so that I'd encourage you to, this is what you're going to get from this conversation today. All right. So ground rules for you guys. I love you, Maria, KG, Tom, Patrick, Peter. This is not for spectators. Please in the chat, type in the chat where you're coming in from. I will challenge you. I'm basically going to say you will not be able to look at your homepage or speak your sales message that you've been speaking up until this moment the same again after this conversation today. You just won't. And that's going to be a huge challenge. The gloves are off. But I want this to be valuable to you. I really want you to move the needle in your business. There won't be a replay. This is a live conversation. I love to do this with you because I really want to help and have this kind of conversation. All right. So there'll be giveaways at the end. I'm going to give away the 16-part magnetic messaging framework. And it's magnetic because it attracts your ideal customers and it also repels your non-ideal customers, which is perfect. That's what a magnet does. I'm going to give you that framework and you can compare it to your own site today. I'm going to give you the 12 conversations that if you look at any 50 to 100K deal, even 250, $250,000 deal, if you miss one of these 12 conversations, you will not close the deal. And this is what we've observed and I've observed over my career. And we make sure these conversations happen even on the marketing side, right there on the homepage from a marketing conversation perspective. And I'm also going to be giving away a GPT, a free GPT for you, that it's a homepage messaging evaluator. So it'll be a URL I'm going to give away to the participants here, free to use. And you can put in your URL of your business and get piece by piece critique of how it needs to change based on the magnetic messaging framework. This is what the magnetic messaging framework looks like from above the fold, all the pieces and all the sections that you need to have to answer the questions when people come to your business, they hear about you. What do you do? What problem do you solve? Who do you work with? How do I work with you? What do you want me to do? All those questions that people have in their minds. But in 9 seconds, they can be answered if the website is designed to have those conversations. All right, so I'm also going to be giving you a digital copy of the Storycraft for Disruptors. It's a PDF for you guys, but buy the book if you like paper. I love paper, and I'd appreciate an honest review on Amazon as well. All right, I will not be pitching you. There's nothing to be sold here. This is really to help you guys. At the end, I will, however, be offering 5 CEOs here an opportunity to book a free 45-minute AI integrated sales and marketing enablement session with us if you are a fit. So I would like to ask you, yes or no, does that sound fair for our engagement today? We got a yes from Patrick, yes from Dr. Demador. Maria got a yes with an exclamation point. Awesome. All right. So, by the way, peeps, I've used GPT to review my website and suggest design and content changes, but basically really good and basically free. Yes. But unless the GPT that you're asking, you give it perspective and it really understands your industry and where you want to go, it'll give you more generic advice. And that's the difference between the chat GPT at the base level versus the custom trained GPT that I'm going to give to you at the end of this workshop. And we'll talk about trained GPTs. I'm not sure if you guys know about the difference between that first layer, the third layer. Type in the chat if you do, but that's what we're going to talk about. So let me say who this is not for. This masterclass, this roundtable today, this is not for those who don't own or run their business. So if this is not you, feel free to bow out. Don't waste your time. This is not for businesses that don't sell an innovative product. So if you're selling a non-innovative product, this is not for you. This is not for businesses who don't already have successful customers. So if you don't have successful customers, this is not for you because I need to know, we need to know that you've got a great product that is making your customers' lives better. Otherwise, this framework will not work for you. This is for CEOs that I would say that are committed to helping their customers. So if you're not committed to helping your customers, this is not for you. And if you've grown your business by more than 700%, this is probably not for you because you're doing great. And it's for businesses that have products and services that do require your prospects to change the process or the way that they're accomplishing their goals. So if it doesn't require them to change anything, this is not for you. So if I haven't lost you already, then you're here. That means that this is for you. This is for CEOs who can invest time and money into the business. So my promise to you is in the next 45 minutes, we're going to talk about how to nail your sales message, even if your solution is complicated, complex, and needs to be demonstrated, how to turn your homepage into a home run, why it's game over for most marketing playbooks that even ChatGPT has been trained on, and why they don't work, and what you need to be using instead, and how to attract ideal customers into buying conversations and lead your category in a category of one, even if they've never heard of your solution. We're going to talk about an authority perspective there, and how to get AI, and this is the fifth shift, to create a torrent of 100% on brand content without hallucinations or fancy prompting that everybody on your team, from salespeople to your project managers, in every email and every conversation can be using for free. That's my promise to you. All right. But first, is this you? Just yes or no. Give me a 9 in the chat if any of these resonate with you. If any of these are you're facing, I'm going to go through these pretty fast. Your solution today is amazing. Your customers love you. Number 9. But you and your sales reps are working so hard explaining what it is and why they should care. It should be a no-brainer. Give me a 9 in the chat if it really should be a no-brainer. But for some reason, it is a brainer. If you have a marketer spending their day marketing, but it isn't turning into sales, give me a 9 in the chat. If you've asked GPT to write you a blog, a post, marketing, and maybe it wasn't rubbish, but it really wasn't, it didn't capture the story really that you want to be telling, give me a 9 in the chat. Give me a 9 in the chat if you're seeing a lot of demos happening, but no sales, even 6 months later, or if you're seeing win rates down or sales cycles increasing. And this is what I see happening. And a lot of people think this is a sales problem. But what the shifts that we're going to be talking about today, they're positioning shifts that will change this. And that's why I'm asking. So just give me, we don't use GPT being into privacy domain. I'm not sure what that means. Please explain. So have you read these books or some of these books like Building a Story Brand from Donald Miller or Gap Selling? Or This is Marketing. So intellectually, you know what you need to be doing, but yet if you look at your message right now that's showing up in your conversations, your salespeople's conversations, your website, there's a gap. it's not there. It's not doing what you know it should be doing. Knowing isn't the same as doing. If you've got salespeople telling different stories about what you do and why you're better, and everyone's telling a different story, give me a 9 in the chat. Okay. Um, so that's great, Dr. Dumbledore. You have your own AI engine, but that's great. But you probably not have another. You should need to like to have like 99 different AI engines. One of them needs to be helping you dial in your helping you tell your story, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Yes or no? Give me a 9 in the chat if you're spending money on graphics and websites and social media and PPC. You're spending money here, but you seem to be missing a single, easy to tell, compelling story that could be told in a sentence or in a question that attracts your ideal customer. Give me a 9 in the chat. And we're going to tell you how to do this today. If you have a sales presentation that is so many slides because you're compensating for the fact that your homepage doesn't tell the story and doesn't get people to that first conversation predisposed to buy, then give me a 9 in the chat. Give me a 9 in the chat if you're using words on your website that maybe even ChatGPT would be using, like creating innovative workflow technologies that drive high reliability. Like, what in the F does that even freaking mean? Like, that doesn't mean anything. And if you be honest with the words that your website, your marketing people are using, as ChatGPT is using, these self-ascribed, give me a 9 in the chat if you have any of these words showing up in your marketing. Best in class, most trusted, easy to manage, like cloud-based, whatever, AI powered, AI driven. All of that is self-ascribed, meaningless stuff. Doesn't do anything. So clarity beats buzzwords every time, but guess what? ChatGPT doesn't know, to be clear, unless you train it. We're going to talk about this today. Your slides are Frankendeck. I'm going to put a thumbs down for this one. What I mean by a Frankendeck, it's just been built over time. There's a lot of slides, and it's just, you know what a Frankendeck looks like. So give me a 9 in the chat if you have a Frankendeck to compensate for a bad website. So, if you feel like in marketing, you're just going to spend more money, let's just create a case study. We just need more competitive matrices. We need full feature demos. We need a calculator. But all of that doesn't seem to be helping converting. Give me a 9 in the chat. All right. So the good news is that those are all symptoms of a problem. But the real problem is that you haven't made these 5 shifts. And so this is what's going to happen once you make it as the leader of your business and your leadership team. And we can help you with this. But once you make these shifts, you're going to have complete confidence in what you're spending on marketing. You're going to lead your category, accelerate qualification, and close a lot more deals. Your leadership team will be fully aligned, rowing in the same direction, including your salespeople. And the story will be easy to tell, easy to talk about, whether they're at a bar, at a conference, or in front of a customer. You will be able to create tons of 100% on-brand content everywhere, every month, without hiring anyone. I shit you not. That is the reality. 5, attract ideal prospects showing up predisposed and ready to buy. This is massive when you make these 5 shifts, and I'm so excited to jump in. So, are you guys ready to jump into these 5 shifts? If I'm going too fast, I'm sorry. We're just running that way. I'm hyped up on coffee. So if you want to move forward here, just type in heck yes or yes. Let's get to the 5 shifts. All right. We got a yes from David. We got Tom, Patrick, Peter, Major, Chris. One thing I'm putting up here on the screen that I forgot to do, if you can't stay, actually, I'm going to not give it the handout. You can book that time in the offer in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. You can book some time for that I'm going to be giving away at the end. All right, so let's jump into this. So the first shift you need to do is to lead a movement. So what do I mean by lead a movement? I like to say we why do you have to lead a movement? You lead a movement because would you guys say, would you say, David, KG, Major, Peter, Alex, that you're selling something that's innovative, in innovation? Just yes or no. Type in the chat. Yes, no, maybe, sort of, kinda. So if you are selling an innovation, what would you say in the chat? What is your innovation challenge? Because if you're selling an innovation, that must mean that you're challenging something, right? So type in the chat, what are you challenging? And if you think about what you're challenging, that's kind of like the enemy of the story, the enemy that your customer is dealing with and that you have built your innovation to conquer, to overcome. So the idea of leading a movement is something you need to do. And this is something, when you get clear on that movement, then it's going to help you cut through the noise, become that category leader in the Gartner category that you can create your own. So look what Salesforce.com did this back in like 2006. You remember this? Type in the chat if you remember this campaign from Salesforce.com, where they led a movement against software and a movement to the cloud. Type in the chat. Do you remember this? Or am I the only gray-haired person here? So Salesforce did this, HubSpot did this in 2012 with inbound marketing. And so if you guys know what your movement is, type in the chat. What's your movement about if you're leading a movement? The old way is, if you're pitching, you would basically make claims as the voice of an arrogant expert, making claims about what you're offering, the innovation, and why it's the best. But the new way is you're taking the role of like Obi-Wan. You're a rebel leader, and you are um, espousing why the old way doesn't work and why the new way you must adopt the new way, or it's life or death in the future, and encourages people to change. This is a fundamental shift in pitching. Um, and if this is resonating with you in this approach, type in, I don't know, resonate or resonate, yeah, in the chat. So Chris Orlov speaks about this movement. It really helps your salespeople have conversations that shake your prospects' confidence in, well, maybe the approach they're taking today with the non-innovation is not going to work out so well. And it shakes their confidence in a good way. And it's a polarizing statement. It's a clear binary statement. So if you know what your leadership movement looks like in a statement, type it in the chat. Let's see what that looks like. Because you need to be, if you're leading a movement, you're leading a movement towards something, and you're rebelling against something else. So what are you rebelling against? What is your polarizing statement? And if you don't know this, you haven't made the shift yet, and you need to. And I'm happy to help you. This is fundamental. If you want to get to the next level as a business, this is something that we can help you with. Challenger sale, and you all have read the Challenger sale book. If you don't change how your buyer thinks, you're dead. You will not be able to compete. And so this is fundamental to your sales pitch, if you will. You need to be clear about what you're telling your customers, what they need to stop doing, and what they need to what they have to start to do. I like what Christopher Voss, I'm a big fan, and I would say a disciple of Christopher Voss, who wrote the book Never Split the Difference. If you read his book, type in the chat, Chris Voss. I really enjoy his talks, and he likes to say, stop chasing yes. And I really love that, because no-oriented questions really help people decide what they are willing to tolerate. We're going to be talking about this to use this approach in marketing. But if you're going to lead a movement, you need to say, what are you saying goodbye to? What do your customers need to say goodbye to? And what do they need to say hello to be successful? All right, so I am clear, I think, on this. If this is making sense, that really, I mean, if you believe that sales is an act of leadership, and I believe marketing is an act of leadership, because that's what the purpose of marketing is, to help people change. So if you believe this, give me, I don't know, give me an 8 in the chat if you believe that sales is an act of leadership. So if you believe this, then fundamental in your storytelling, in your message, in the training of your GPT needs to be what the movement is about. So I love that, David, Major, Patrick, Maria. So you need to lead an uprising. I'm a big Arnold fan. Love the guy. you need to be leading against something. And think about what your TED talk might be about, what worlds you want to create for your customers. This is all part and parcel with the thinking of the movement that you want to create. And think about some of the hashtags that you've seen, like "Just Do It" from Nike, or from "Trust Your Source" from the Wall Street Journal, or "Make America Great Again." Whether you like Donald Trump or not doesn't matter. I'm not being political here. I'm saying that the clarity of message wins, and that's what I know as a salesperson, as a marketer, as a student of who wants to be a master in marketing. This is what I've observed, and maybe you observed too. What pattern do you see here with all of these hashtags? There's a pattern here. Can you discern the pattern here? What if you would ask ChatGPT, what do all of these hashtags have in common? ChatGPT would be able to tell you the pattern here, the framework of what's going on. Can you tell what that framework is? Yes, David, they all have an aspect of action. They all start with a verb. It's a call to an action, but there's more than just an action. Like Occupy Wall Street was an action, but it failed. It failed because it didn't have a clear picture of a positive world. Like, it didn't draw a tribe of people to a positive world. It was a limited action. So all of these have an action towards I would like to say, a promised land, or a place that for the people it speaks to is a positive place in the world. Do you see the pattern here? So if you know what your hashtag or your 3-word rebellion, as Dr. Michelle Mazur uses, wonderful book called The 3-Word Rebellion. If you know what your hashtag is, type it in the chat along with the industry, your business, so it makes sense. Because like, hit your number makes no sense unless you know, oh, I see, Zoom Info is selling data. And if I buy data from them, maybe I'll be able to hit my number. So you see how it gets tied together. So we need context as well as your hashtags. So Patrick, let's see what industry you're in, because I need that context for it to make sense. So achievability, maybe that's an aspect of it. Maybe not. So like, that's a good point. Achievability. If you look at this one, like Airbnb, live anywhere, starts with a verb, call to an action. But really, is that achievable, that you can live anywhere? Maybe not. It's more aspirational than achievable, I would say. But that's interesting. A comment there. All right. So marketing is about action. And David, you nailed it with that. All right. It's not about hype. But many of our hired marketers, any marketer you pay today is likely going to write a bunch of happy horse shit that is going to make you feel good about your brand, about your company, but isn't going to help your customers make the change they need to make in order for them to be successful. That's harsh. I know it's harsh, but that is the reality. I want you guys to be successful. So Jeff, CEO of EquipX, before he made these shifts, confusing marketing content wasn't converting. Pipeline was thin, letting key partners and investors down, losing deals to no decision. This was his actually website, their website before. They're selling software that helps hospitals save a lot of money. But I had no idea when I saw this, like, what does this company even do? Like, I don't even know, like, what is this? I even asked ChatGPT, I'm like, what the F does this company do? ChatGPT didn't know what this company does either. But after we went through these shifts and trained the AIs on their business, they tripled their revenue, 6x pipeline in 4 months. Amazing results. I'm not promising that you can get these results, but it's possible. All right, it's possible. So this is the after the shifts were made. Reduce your fleet costs, really good. And the transformation story of turning underutilized equipment into an optimized health system. That's who their customers want to be. So lots of great examples, but the first shift you need to make is to lead a movement. Is there anything I can clarify here on lead a movement? Just type in the chat. Is there anything here about this shift you need to make in all of your marketing? Does this make sense? Type in the chat. Is anything here I can clarify? All right. Great. So we'll talk about Trisha later, but she triple sales because of the messaging that they're using. All right. uh, more happy CEOs that have made the shift. So, number two, the second shift you need to make is to start with the problem. And this is super hard. KG, Patrick, Peter, Major, Chris, Alex, this is super hard. It's going to sound easy, but why not start with your solution? I would say this is the reason why you should not start with your solution. What do you see here when you look at my screen? Why not start with your solution in a market that looks like this? Type in the chat for me, would you? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Yeah, that's right. That's right. You nailed it. It's all noise. Yeah. So let's focus now. Who is your ideal customer? How well you understand your customer is your biggest competitive advantage. And you're here because I know you're selling an innovation. I know you're revolutionizing something. But the bad news is you can't just lead with your solution and say that it's the best. There's an example of this. Here's a website from a CEO that came to our masterclass last month. And on their homepage, it says who we are. We're trust, we're courage, accountability, compassion. Like I read, when you read this, do you believe them? Like, is this like, oh yeah, because they say they're courageous, I believe they're courageous. Like this is such, I don't know why people think this is what they need to do to tell people what they should be thinking. Says who? So in the same way, you can't say, I mean, let's just back it up a little bit. You can't say that you're selling an innovation because all of this is innovation. And so innovation, selling innovations is solution centric. And we're living in a world today that has changed and you need to be problem centric. All right. Where's Waldo? You are here. So the world, the good news is the world needs your solution. I get it. They need it. They're going to be better off with it. But here's the trick. Start with the problem because money follows pain in an organization. Have you recognized this? Have you spent time selling to, has your salespeople found this, that if there is pain in an organization, that they will find money to solve that pain? Yes, yes or no in the chat. Yes or no? So customers have also, have you found that they buy more when they're feeling understood m- more than by them understanding your solution? Have you found that in the sales process? That if you're talking and empathizing and demonstrating your depth of knowledge, when I say you, I'm talking about your brand here through your salespeople and through your marketing. And most marketing sucks because it's solution centric. It's not really empathizing with the problem. So, pain is one reason, pleasure is another. So, we're going to talk about that. So, people say, well, are you selling a vitamin or are you selling a painkiller? So, Chris, what would you say? Are you selling a vitamin or a painkiller? Let's talk about pleasure and kill. Yes. So, the reality is, Chris, that people are twice more likely to buy something to relieve pain than to gain something. So, vitamins are gaining, but people are buying much more solutions or things that are helping them stop the pain. So, is it possible, Chris, as a challenge to you, that you could reframe what you're selling as something that's relieving an inevitable hardship? Yes or no? I see the tears coming down, Chris. All right. So, yes. All right. So, we got that from you, Chris. Solution marketing doesn't work anymore. And it doesn't work because it doesn't answer these questions. Why should someone change? Why should an organization change now? And why should they change with you? And solution centric marketing doesn't work. And most marketers today are just producing marketing that is solution centric and it doesn't work anymore. The pitch starts with the solution, all the features, the products. If you look at the demos and look at the transcripts and look at the, even ask AI to analyze the sales conversations your teams are having, you'll see that most of the conversation is around features, benefits, and the product. Yes or no? Type in the chat. But the new way for great salespeople, and great salespeople know this, and great marketers know this, it needs to start with the problem, and the problem needs to be infused everywhere. And the new SEO, by the way, is, and the SEO is more like AIO. AI is people are going to ChatGPT and Perplexity to do deep research, and it's the websites that are actually having problem sentiments and empathizing with the problems. That's what people are searching for. And so this is a fundamental shift in the new SEO this year. So the old pitch is when you say, well, we help companies achieve this great outcome. That's the old way. The new way with problem-centric selling and problem-centric marketing is we help companies struggling with the thing. Does this make sense in the chat? And we're talking about starting with the problem. Just give me a yes or no in the chat if this is making sense. It's hard to do. And now I'm going to test you guys. David, Maria, Chris, type in the chat here. Type in the chat what is the number one problem that you help resolve? What is that number one problem? Type in the chat now. This is a pop quiz. And this is going to sound simple. And I know you guys are brilliant, but I'm bracing you for impact here. It's going to be tough. So as you're typing that in the chat, on the left side, this is what I call the buyer's belief curve. And if you think about who you're selling to, the reason why people buy, I've studied this and you probably know this in your heart as well. The reason why your customers buy is not because of the product's features and benefits. It's because the risk of them doing nothing is greater than the risk of them doing something. And this is shocking, but you need to ignore a lot of people in the market, and this is where the magnetic messaging framework comes in. You need to repel a lot of people that are not interested, but yet influence and attract and encourage people who recognize that perhaps the risk of doing nothing is greater for them and their organization than the risk of doing something. This is another illustration that you'll find in the book. So Patrick, reducing alert fatigue in the Security Operations Center. So Patrick, I'm so sorry. I love you, Patrick. Big heart. But is everyone, type in the chat for Patrick, is reducing alert fatigue a goal, something that an organization wants to achieve, or is it a current state problem? Type in the chat. Dr. Demodore, compliance risk to competitive advantage. I'm not sure I even understand that. I know that a competitive advantage is a goal, not a problem. Maria, put a bra again. Severe arthritic hands can't use conventional bra closure. So Maria, that is a goal. That is not a problem. Man, I hear you, Maria. My wife would agree. So I'm pointing out to you that this is actually hard to get this shift, and you won't get it from marketers typically. You'll get it from honest discussions with customers and really empathetic understanding what is their current state problem that they're facing. If they do nothing, what are they facing? What's the risk of doing nothing? That's the problem that you solve. I'm sorry, I've given everybody here like a C or like a D here, but that's just the way it goes. So if you want to change people's minds about this, let me ask you, yes or no in the chat. Do facts change people's minds? Can you give people lots of facts about your product and how much it will help them? Is that enough to get someone to change their mind? So Dr. Demodore says yes. Chris says nope. Patrick says nope. So Dr. Demodore, I'm sure you have a perspective here. Please type in your perspective. But I have found that facts do not change people's minds, because the facts that people care about are the facts that change people's minds. So it depends what people care about, doesn't it? All right. So nobody cares about your business, your product, your company, your why. Type in the chat what your ideal customers really care about. Type in the chat. I like to say, and what I've experienced is that in sales and in marketing, people believe the things that they themselves decide. You can't tell people what they should believe. They have to decide. And I also studied Socrates in college, and I'm sure you did as well. And the Socratic method is beautiful in that you're asking people questions so that they could arrive at the truth according to them. But if you both believe in some core fundamental things, you will likely arrive in the same place. All right, so this was number 2. I'm going to just wrap this piece up. Is there anything I can clarify here on how you need to shift in your solution marketing to problem-centric marketing. Is there anything I can clarify here? Does this make sense? Type in the chat, yes or no. Know that was a bit harsh, but this is an important fundamental shift to make. Warren Johnson, CEO of Scribex, he made this shift, but before he did, he had stagnant growth. Good salespeople were leaving because they weren't really supported by marketing. The value of the innovation wasn't getting across, missing forecasts. They went from 137 customers to nearly 3,000 in 12 months after the brand messaging makeover, website revamp, sales presentation redesign, and also they got an AI in their back pocket that's trained on their brand, which they love. It's really helping them lower costs and achieve their goals. Also, Manish had some great results as well. They had grown exponentially since 2022. Only recently have they added AI. So this shit is hard to do. It's hard because the marketers you work with, the ones on staff, as well as the ones you hire externally, they're going to want to market. Markets are going to want to market. And that's not the way to do it. There are going to be blind spots. They're going to be played by outdated playbooks, and so is GPT, unless it's trained. Status quo is less risky that your prospects have. Like, it's less risky for them to do nothing than for them to change. And your messaging needs to call out what happens if they don't change. All right. So best salespeople will quit, and that's sad. Your fancy GPT prompts won't save you because GPT prompts fall flat because there's not enough context unless it's been trained, and we're going to get to that in the fifth shift. All right. So let's unlock the third shift here. Make your customer the hero. And I'm going to go speed up here because I really want you guys to stay in the game here and get everything. Oh, we got a limited group, but let's jump in. Patrick, make your customer the hero. What you need to do, if they're the hero, Patrick, who does that make you? If they're the hero, who does that make you? Well, that should make you the trusted guide. And who is the villain of the story? And we talked about this, about what your marketing is in love with, but bottom line is you need to make your customer the hero, not your product. And this is an essential voice shift that needs to be made in your messaging, your marketing. All right, so let's go on to the essential voice is how we make you better instead of why we're the best. And this is where so many websites doesn't pass this litmus test of looking at the website and say, well, what is it essentially saying and what voice is it using? And it's using this voice of the hero instead of the voice of the guide. All right, so let us get to the fourth shift, which is if you want us to do a quick positioning take on your website, type in the URL in the chat and we will get to that. Hey, Tony, what's going on? So the fourth shift you need to make is to name your category. And so this is really important because if you're selling in any category, it's likely that category, everyone understands that, and that's great. And how are they differentiating what you're selling versus what anybody else is selling in your category? So this is what you're seeing in the market. It's typically a pre-word. So Apple's coming out with spatial computing. And so it's a pre-word or prefix in front of an existing category. So for example, Apple is in the computing space, but within that, they have created a zoom in to spatial computing. That's their category that they're trying to own. So it's taking an existing category, an existing market, in known products, and it's zooming into, well, your company, your product, and then zooming into your unique category. So if you look at accelerated computing, so this is what NVIDIA is using. So that's their new category, and it's brilliant. This is what you got to do. Figure out what the prefix is or what the suffix is in the existing category. Apple Intelligence, another brilliant approach. Comfort ownership. This is something one of our customers landed on, and it's wonderful. I saw this with vacation ownership as well. Marriott, maybe they try to sell you a timeshare. They're calling it vacation ownership, which is a new category. So Jaguar Freight, this is their new category, which is uh, for freight intelligence. Sorry, intelligent freight forwarding is the new category. So freight forwarding is an old category for maybe 50 years or more, but the new category is um, intelligent freight forwarding. So it's just adding a word. And so intelligence is popping up everywhere in every industry, and that's why you're seeing it often. But you can take a look at some other examples of this, like a CCO instead of a PPO from Vextra Health. Uh, we actually help them with that. But look at some of these from Dropbox or Clear Metal. All of these existing categories like data management, well, live data management or data analytics, big data analytics. That's back in 2013. So give some thought as to what is your unique category. So if you know what that is, type in the chat. Love to see your thoughts on what your unique category is. So this is something you need to do. It's a shift to help you get to where you want to go in clarifying your in your industry. All right. So now the fifth shift is the secret weapon, and the secret weapon. Oh, adaptive bras. Love that. So adaptive is the prefix. Bras is the existing category. Fantastic. So the secret weapon is this. So once you have a core messaging framework document, and sometimes about 20 to 40 pages, and each page has covers a different aspect of the conversation that you need to be having with your prospects about who they are, what problems they solve, so what problems you solve, and really dialing all that messaging in. Then you can train the GPT on that so that you're not getting these type of words. So type in the chat, have you seen any of these words on my screen show up in content created by ChatGPT? Yes or no? Like delve, I need to drop. Okay, gotcha. So this is what's happening. So it's happening because it's been trained like a good apprentice on marketing of billions of words from the 2010s. And that's what showed up in Enron and Theranos and all these bad companies. But that's what it's been trained on. So the secret weapon is to get AI to become your marketing expert in your brand voice. How do you do that? By engaging an expert to facilitate interviews, validate findings with select customers, and define the most effective problem first framework. Use the refined framework to train a custom GPT that generates 100% on brand content, and then transform your website, presentations, emails, marketing, everything at least 25x efficiency. That is the secret weapon. Um, we do this through a 3 month, a 90-day sprint. And as you can see along this ladder, there's lots of steps to get there, to get to that third step. But the GPT is spawned in month 2, typically, after we go through all the intakes and the clarity that happens through the interviews in month 1. And those interviews are important because trapped in your hearts and minds of your leadership team are the knowledge about your customers and who they are and what they want and what their challenges are. And we have to actually interview you because if we just go to your current documentation, it typically doesn't have those insights. So that's why the intake process is so important, that it results in a document that looks like this, that is then used to train the GPT. So then it's uploaded either to Google Gems or to OpenAI GPT, and then you can have hundreds of chats with that custom chat GPT for your brand for free. And not only you can have it, but everybody in your business could use that as a 100% on brand copywriter that works for them in the style that they need, but it will be 100% on brand, guaranteed. It's unbelievable what it does once it's trained. So there's a lot here in terms of how to use AI, and I hope I didn't lose you. If you have specific questions, just type it in the chat. Yeah, by the way, this satire is pretty funny. Enron.com, I'm sure. Oh my gosh. So we're an AI integrated sales and marketing agency where we do a lot of category design and sales enablement, but we only do that after we fix the messaging. And once the messaging is fixed, you can spawn even a podcast using AI voices. And all of these customers we've had here, they spun up these podcasts with AI voices that's been trained on the story of their company. So just like the future possibilities of how you could use this are mind blowing. But unless you nail your story first, this structure just won't work. So that's the secret weapon here. You need to engage an outside expert that understands how to do this, understands how to train the AI, use the framework, and create the GPT for your business and transform your website presentation so that you have a really solid platform for growth. So here's a quick case study. Masood, before he made these shifts, they were doing like 30 demos to one sale, extremely frustrated, large sales team turnover, and very anxious about limited financial runway. This was their before website. And as you can see, like it's unclear like what they do. The afterwards is like so much clearer. They're into the recovery, backup and recovery business, and they do it in an intelligent way. All right, so afterwards, they tripled their at bats and doubled their win rate. And that's for me, the win rate is the best indicator of success. Not so much like the number of at bats, because what happens often with the magnetic messaging framework is you're going to have less at bats because you're going to repel a lot of people that really should be disqualified and not wasting your sales team's time. But you're going to see the win rate increasing. Most of the time, it's double the win rate. And that's the key performance indicator. So those are the 5 urgent growth shifts that you need to make before AI-powered companies leave everybody behind. My promise to you was to show you how to nail your sales message, how to turn your homepage into a home run, why it's game over for most marketing playbooks, how to attract ideal customers and repel your non-customers into buying conversations and lead your category, and how to get AI to create 100% on-brand content. So just to recap, you got to lead a movement. You need to start with the problem. Make your customers the hero of the story. That makes you the guide and trusted guide. Name your category. So, Chris, do we need a special AI plan for the secret weapon? No, you don't need a special. You need at least the $20 a month OpenAI plan for your team. I think it's $65 a month on OpenAI. That's one we recommend, but you can use Google Gemini or Anthropic or Claude, and they're about the same price. It doesn't matter, but what matters is most of them offer an ability to train a custom GPT or a custom gem. So then use the secret weapon. That's what you need. So I would say now you have a choice. You can do nothing. You can go it alone, or you can get help. And I'd recommend you guys definitely get help from me and my team. And you could snap that QR code over there and book some time with me to discuss your business and get a game plan to getting it done. So you can see here on the left, this is the magnetic messaging framework work that really has to happen. This typically happens in 2 to 3 or 4 weeks, depending on the number of people involved. And then we move to get your content machine that you own in place so that you can create everything from lead magnets to website content to marketing newsletters to ads, all of that virtually free from a copywriting perspective with 100% on brand. So it's amazing. And we're adding on different pieces like AI SDR desks and digital clones and cool things in 2025. That's for very advanced folks. So I don't recommend that out of the gate. But typically out of the gate, I do recommend this 3-month structure, including webinar series like this to do some thought leadership on the new category. So we can talk about budget and things like that if you book a call. So here's what I have for you. There's a QR code. If you book a call, we'll have a discussion. We'll get clear on what to do, and we'll get a game plan on getting it done. If you qualify, I would say, let me give away the giveaways here. The 16-part magnetic messaging framework. I'm going to give that away here. You'll see that in the upper right-hand corner. You can download that PDF. In the chat, I'm going to give away the 12 conversations right now in the chat. So these are born on studying thousands of winning deals and what constitute a winning deal, what kinds of conversations happen. If you're missing one of those conversations, you're likely going to miss closing at least a 100K deal. And then in the chat, I'm giving you guys the GPT that you could use to, from a AI perspective, get a critique on your website on what it's missing based on the magnetic messaging framework. And then let me give away the book. So here's the PDF of the Storycraft for Disruptors. And I promise this to you. There is it in the chat. You can download that. And if you're smart, you can upload that into ChatGPT and have a conversation with the book. And that might be a way for you to digest it. As you would have a conversation with Socrates, since ChatGPT has read everything that Socrates has written. Not to compare me to Socrates, by the way. Uh, I'm not. I'm kind of dumb. Actually, that's something that he might say, but no, if he's here, he's like rolling over in his grave right now. So I would say here, if you don't hire an outside expert, actually, I do want to answer questions. What's a good starting budget? I would say, Chris, more money than you would ever spend on marketing is probably what the budget is. So I'm just going to set it at that, because if you don't get this right, a lot's at risk. So it really has to be done right. So I would say do not hire a marketer. Um, Maybe I'm more of an Aristophanes. Don't hire a marketer, hire a sales enabler. So marketers are shit, basically. And I'm sorry to crap on marketers, but a lot of marketers just want jobs and want to produce marketing. But really, what's the purpose of marketing? I mean, really, let's call a spade a spade. The purpose of marketing is to get people to change, to get people to have open conversations with your salespeople. And so I believe marketing, the purpose of marketing is to enable sales. Argue with me all day if you want. I'm going to die on that sword. So book your 30-minute, or maybe if you think it's 45 minutes, whatever, sales and marketing assessment, and we will talk about it. We've really been honored to help CEOs get to the next level with their products in the market. And I have been privileged to work with these people, with my team, to get them to a place where they're making the world a better place. And I say that because ultimately, if you're selling more of your product, I believe that your customers' worlds will be better and the world will be better. Uh, Less waste, better quality for everybody. And it could be patients, it could be people. And I believe that's why you guys are in business. That's why I'm in business, to help make the world a better place for my family, my children. So I think we're aligned on that. So don't book if you don't have a viable product, if you're not committed to your vision, if you're okay with your business is, if you aren't challenging the status quo, and you won't or can't invest time and money into your business, because it's going to take those things. I would say as a business leader, you do need to make these shifts if you want to be successful. And I want to encourage you to book a call with us so we can help you. All right, so that is the talk. If we're still here, we can look at who wants to talk about their website. In the chat, put in your website that you wanted to take a quick look at. We can take a quick look and have a chat in this open session. IPO Candy, that sounds familiar, Chris. I think I've seen your website before. Let's see. Patrick, Tony, you guys are here. So IPO, we got Maria, Fresh Comfort Inc. We're amazing. I'm sure you are amazing. And if that's your sales pitch, Chris, good luck with that. How does that work with your ideal customers? We're amazing, Chris, but we're not the way where we need to be. I get it. So this is Fresh Comfort Inc. Arthritis has nothing on you. Oh yeah. So I like the empathetic headline here. I like this empathetic. I don't know if that's the headline or some other element of the site. It looks like this is a B2C site, and it looks like I would go to the site and I would buy. So this is a little unique because it's B2C, but I wonder if you have a business to business pitch as well, where you sell to large organizations. I'm not sure, but that's probably where your bigger play is. Maria, I would say your bigger play would be that. That's where you'll grow 100 times, 100x, instead of this route. Would you agree or disagree on that? Yes. Okay. So if you want to get to the next level, you'll need to have a website or a landing page so that you can 100x your growth. But this is pretty good from a B2C perspective. uh, what I'm not seeing here, I'm not seeing like really how this is different. Honestly, I don't shop for bras. I know honestly, but uh, I don't. I'd have to dig in to understand a little bit more. So anyway, thank you for that. Anyone else, or else we're going to wrap up here. I respect everyone's time. We're 10 after the hour. I hope that this was useful. I hope you got a lot out of this discussion. And if you want help, please book some time. If not, I want to encourage you to make these shifts so that you can make your business better and make the world a better place. With that, I want to thank you for joining and keep on rocking in the free world. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Chris.